sometimes the execution of ideas is going to matter more than the actual idea itself. You ever had a great idea that you just thought about mid sentence, not mid sentence, maybe just, you know what, yeah, mid sentence, you're talking about something that you're interested in, and you come up with like this great idea that you're just like, oh my gosh, this would change the world, da, da, da. You're talking about it with your friends, they're hyping you up about it, and then nothing really happens after that. It just remains an idea. But you're like, you'll just keep it in your back pocket just in case. Jesus. It's a great idea, and you'll keep it in your back pocket because it's always going to be there. Okay? No one's going to take your idea. You don't know. Well, you don't know that you're not the only person who came up with the idea. And on top of that, you may not even be the first person to act on said idea. And you won't know if you might be the first person to either succeed, exceed, or fail with said idea. Okay? You ever notice that there's a lot of like companies that do the same thing? Like Pepsi, we have Coca-Cola, Pepsi, RC Cola. Like they're all colas. All of them have the same thing, but Coca-Cola, I'm not sure if they did it first. It might be because of in the drink, but it could be as simple as Coca-Cola executed on the idea first before Pepsi came along, which gave Coca-Cola a strategic advantage over Pepsi when it comes to marketing, when it comes to um, marketing, and all the other stuff. But if the person with Coca-Cola did not execute on said idea and go up further from, I'm sorry, yeah, and scale up from the beginning of their business to what they are now today, Pepsi might be at top and Coca-Cola might be second. Who knows? We don't know. That's not the reality we live in. But I want to make sure this right now. You got a couple ideas in your head currently that are great ideas that you're not acting on. Okay? I In my last video, I talked about not starting. Oh, I can't even see what time it is. But about starting. Um, well, the hard part about starting is that you'll start someday, but you need to start today. So this video is really about the importance of the execution of your ideas to real life creation. And just um, this video is mainly for stressing the idea that when you have an idea in your head and you have to execute it as quickly as possible, or else we have consequences for that. I'm gonna hit this set 1 second. Actually, I'm gonna talk. But the consequences of not executing on your idea immediately is that you may have a great idea, but more often than not, you're gonna forget it. You're gonna write it down. It's gonna be in your notes rotting somewhere, and and it'll never be used. How many was that? 8? I don't even know. I feel like I'm gonna do 2 more. 1 second. I might forget everything I said. But the people who delay, like the people who actually execute on ideas, are already ahead of you. But the people who don't delay on the execution of said idea is going to be far more ahead than everybody else because they started first. In martial arts, at least in boxing, at least I'm not sure if this is everywhere else, but there's a phrase called "always be first." Oh, I'm gonna go 35. I'm going over 35. But there's a term called "always be first" in boxing, where basically you want to execute your game plan before your opponent. Okay, I had to make sure my freaking mic was connected because I keep forgetting. But what was I doing? Oh yeah, you want to execute your game. You want to execute your game plan first, so that way your opponent can't execute their game plan first. Because if you execute your game plan first, then you control the pace of the fight. You control whether or not you can back them to the corner. You can plant traps. You can have them get into habits that they've been practicing for the last I don't even know how long, and then counter those simply because you executed on your idea first. You know. Hold up. Similarly, in real life, When you have an idea, you want to be first. You want to be first to execute on said idea. You want to be first to improve said idea. You want to be first to be on top of the new news that affect your idea. You want to do all that stuff. Even for this video, right? I was just delaying because I usually make these videos when I go to the gym, but I have all my equipment at home. I could just make the video then, and I didn't, like an idiot. And if I would have got this out first, then maybe it might have blown up. This might be the video that blows me up, that gets me to 1,000 subscribers, 200 subscribers, 500 subscribers, whatever that is. And I delayed, and therefore now you're seeing it now a lot later, but this could have been the video to help blow me up. I don't know. Spins the verb. Hold on, I'm gonna hit the set. What's your heart? The reason why delaying your execution can be so dangerous is really your mind. That's really what it is. When you let time pass, something that may or may not happen to you is you'll start overthinking, or you'll start doubting your idea whether or not it's a good idea, or you'll start thinking that you need more time in order to perfect said idea. Kind of sort of what I was talking about earlier. But your mind will come in and start putting stuff in the way, not even like in the way, but actual concerns about said idea that may prevent you from executing on it, which when all you need to do was just act on what your idea was. I think they call it retard maxing. All you have to do is retard maxing. All you got to do is stop thinking about it and just go for it, and then figure it out along the way. We have enough resources, at least after right now. We have enough resources to where all you need to do is look it up on YouTube, look it up on Reddit, use AI as an aid, not as a teacher, but as an aid, and go from there. It's not that hard, bro. If you had enough money, you could hire a teacher to teach you this stuff. It's not difficult. I'm telling you. Um, the thing about it though is that the time it takes you to have an idea and execute on it takes time to grow on. Not everyone has it. Okay, failure is very real. Like if you fail, yeah, you might be screwed. Listen, look, I am not here to tell you that you're a coward or you're a pussy to not to not do it, because I do that too. I second guess myself. I doubt myself. But sometimes I just have to suck it up and go forward and see what happens. Because I may or may not discover something different, discover something about myself, grow in that area. But the whole point that I'm trying to make here is that delaying the time that you have an idea and the time you execute needs time to grow. You may not be good at it at first, but the more you exercise the muscle, the better you'll be long term. I'm gonna pick up this set real quick. 1 second. Yeah, no. The good form, I don't know. We're gonna go down some, but that was two. I might be being a punk, but we've been out the gym for a week or so, and or yeah, we're just gonna go lighter. Y'all didn't hear that. So that's what? That's 3. This is why I stress consistency. Because you kind of see it right now. If you notice in my videos, I used to be able to do this for 10, or I'm sorry, 8. 8 last week. And now I'm not able to do it because I've been at the gym for a week and I haven't been eating properly either. So I see a lot of, I need to gain my strength back again. I've been at the gym for about a week for my birthday weekend. Yeah, it was my birthday weekend. But, yeah, hold on one second. So I did 3. I'll have to hit, well, I went down some, so that's the neck point. My form was good. So definitely neck point still. So right now it's A minus. We're gonna try to still go for 8, complete the sets, so we don't get another neck point. I'm sorry, not a B. We're at a B minus because we're only doing 8, not 10. I'm an idiot. I think that was 5, not 6. It's about to go up some, but we're gonna hit that and that alone. And after that, we'll probably go up in reps. But we'll see. Jeez. All growth needs repetition. All growth needs you to do it, repeat it over and over and over again until you get it right. Obviously, I've said this in the past. I feel like I have to express it because some of y'all are idiots. But make sure you guys have some eyes on it. Get a mentorship. Send it to somebody that you trust or even an expert on the subject. Don't just like try to push through it on your own because you can make less mistakes if you just get help. But I know y'all can listen to me. Regardless, growth doesn't grow. I'm sorry. Yeah, no. You don't grow by waiting. You don't grow by delaying. You grow by challenging yourself constantly. You grow by being patient with the progress that you're making, even if it's at a speed that you're not very proud of. The whole point is that you get better at least 0.5% every day. Okay? I understand life gets busy. I understand we got life stuff, family stuff, problems that we can't really avoid. But you can at least get 0.5 times better than everybody else. I think that's what, 7.2 times better every month? Times what, 12? I don't think I'm doing math on that. Somebody do math on that. Let's get it on. Anyway, but you don't grow by waiting. You don't grow by delaying. You don't grow by making your life easier by not challenging yourself, which is why I am stressing that if you have an idea in your head, execute on it, and then continue on. I feel like I say this all the time in almost every video. Start it, continue. Start it, continue. When you get burnt out, continue slower, but continue on still. Okay? And I'm realizing, even in the gym, right? I took off a week, and something that's challenging for me in my body is that I'm skinny. Is that if I don't hit a meal, if I don't hit multiple meals, if I'm not working out, I will lose almost everything, muscle and fat included. All right, I am not, it's kind of irritating, but that's what will happen to me. All right, I could have even, all the way I normally do, I can't do it because I took a week off because of my birthday weekend, and then I ate like garbage, which usually means I ate very little and a lot of garbage food. It might have been high in calories, but I definitely didn't hit my protein goal. That being said, I still need to come back here, keep going, because this is not that bad. This is just 15 pounds off, 30 pounds off, technically. But I can always come back if I just continue slowly again. Because this is a lot better than going down to just the 45s. But anyway, I should probably hit this set now. We're still going to shoot for 8 with as great form as humanly possible. 1 second. Another thing, when it comes to the execution of your ideas, one thing that not executing your ideas does, it closes opportunities to you that could have improved what you were already doing. So every post that you sit on, every workout that you miss, every study day that you don't, that you're not studying hard or and studying effectively, is every day that you. Well, that Zerker spot really put it out of me. I'm just letting you know. Oh my goodness! But every day that you miss is a day that you miss substantial improvement or exponential improvement. Sometimes your breakthrough comes after 180 days of consistent effort, but you won't get there if you don't start day one, or if you have a setback, and you have to restart at day 60 instead of being at day 70, because if you don't use the skill that you're using, you're gonna lose the skill. Straight up. A lot of people think setbacks are just always like, I got unlucky, I wasn't prepared, I wasn't, the algorithm just hates me, I have to pay to play in order to win, whatever that is. But in reality, it's just the consequences of slow execution. Sometimes you just weren't prepared. You didn't study the entire book. You used the study guide, and your teacher knew that. Your teacher knew you were just going to use the study guide to study, but they want you to read the entire book and know the material front and back. And you were thinking, you just give me a study guide, so I'm just going to use that, which is just a guide. It's just a guide. Okay, you should be doing external research, extra research, especially if it's something that if it's like your dream or something you really want to do. Definitely start doing that. And it's not even for the teacher. It's not for the goal. It's for it's for you, because if you just start adding that into your character, you're going to start elevating beyond everyone else, and you won't even know, because this is your normal, because you put it in your schedule. Go watch that video. But it's just slow consequences because you didn't execute on time. That's literally it. That's literally it. You didn't grow because you didn't execute on the idea that you had, and then now you're here in the same place that you were beforehand, and all you had to do was at least start. But right now, I'm talking about mentality. I'm talking about habits. I'm not just talking about you doing it. I'm talking about what's up here of why you do it. That's essentially what I'm talking about. You start your idea, because when you have an idea you think is good, you start it. You don't need to think about it. You just go ahead and go start doing it, and then you don't then you don't stop until you finish it. You gotta finish it. But that's a video for another day. Um, Once you're able to understand that if you don't execute on your idea, then you may be losing opportunities that you're not even thinking about at all. Um, and that it eventually becomes your character. If you really want to change, here are some ideas that I thought about in order to shift that. Okay. Number one, discipline. Okay. Discipline is not waking up at like 5 a.m. just to suffer. Discipline is more like an idea. Um, like it's not like it's more like all right, let's move on. Let's move on this today. Let's make a move on this today. Even if you're tired, if you're not in a mood, you just go do something. You go and you do it. Okay. The second thing, hold on one second. I'm reading off a script now because oh my gosh, I had to write it down. I wrote it in my notes and I had to put it in here, but the second thing is self-trust. Going back to what I said about character, if you are the type of person who does not trust yourself because of your lack of initiation, your lack of self-starting, and you're thinking to yourself, oh man, well, I'm never going to do it anyway, so why would I even start? Okay? Just quit it. The start of self-trust is to start trusting yourself. Duh, what does that mean? Job your love. Job your love. Great advice. What I mean is that, like, if you start a constant flow of discipline, you eventually build your level of self trust with yourself, because now you're able to do it even if you're tired, even if you're exhausted. You know, you eventually stop needing external validation, and then you start trusting your own execution of things. Okay. Number three is resilience. When you're on your path of discipline, when you're in your path of self trust, you need to build resilience. Something about execution is that you're not always going to get it perfectly done. It's not going to be perfect every single time. Sometimes your videos will flop. Sometimes your idea is not going to hit. Sometimes people are not responding in the way that you want to. And instead of it breaking you, it should sharpen you. You need to become a person who keeps going regardless of the situation. Not because not because you're trying to hurt yourself, not because you're trying to um, not because you're trying to prove people wrong, but because that's just the type of person you are. Okay? Number four, clarity. You need an actual goal. If you don't have a goal, you're going to be moving aimlessly, and all this stuff is going to feel heavy. It's going to feel like a drag because you have no goal and you're moving aimlessly. Okay? The thing about execution is that luckily you already have a goal, which should be your idea. Stop guessing what your audience wants. As you are posting videos, working out, making presentations, going to work, whatever it is, you need to figure out your style. You need to figure out what your audience wants, if it's you or if it's somebody else. And you need to figure out what your message is. Okay, what your goal is. Whatever. Whatever you do, you find out by doing it. Okay, you can't think your way into clarity, but you have to act into it. Okay, sometimes you may not see your goal, but you can move towards your goal because you know where you're going. Okay, so here's some rules that I thought about right now. I just typed it all up. That you can probably start today. Okay, when you have an idea, number one, when you have an idea of a strong idea, at least write the script. At least write it down as detailed as you can when you have time. Obviously, if you're at your job, just figure out a time to write it all down. Okay, record a draft, write a script. Um, um, shoot, freaking do something. Okay, it's just one step, very small, but it's still real action. It's not just thinking. Okay, and then number two, now lower the bar to done. Lower the bar for done. On your journey, you're going to suck in the beginning, and that's okay. The problem is going to be if you're going to be a perfectionist. If you are so concerned about the perfection of whatever product you're creating, unless you're actually selling an actual product, then please make sure it's good. Because I'm not going to buy a product if it's not good. But please, instead of asking, "Is this perfect?" Ask, "Is it clear enough to help someone or express my point?" Or get the job done, right? Even this video, this is a haphazard video. This is terrible. Is it my best work? No. Is it postable? Yes. Am I going to edit it? Yes. Is it going to be good? Yes. That being said, if I was so concerned about perfection, you would have never saw this today, and you might have really needed to hear this message. And this is a long video that I normally do. This is 30 minutes long. This is not what I normally do. But, hold on one second. But, just pick an idea and execute it. Lastly, on your journey on becoming more disciplined, on executing your ideas, who you become matters. Okay? You could be a genius person who has an idea that never leaves their head, or you could be the person with decent ideas that get better because they're actually executed on a daily basis. One of those people grows, and one of those people stay where they are. Guess which one does? The execution of your ideas is either going to be your biggest weakness or your strongest advantage. You don't need more ideas. You don't need a motivation. You don't need to. You just need to shrink the time between I should do this and I did it. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. It's a long video, but appreciate you guys for watching. If you want to support the channel, make sure you like and subscribe, share with a friend. And if you want to support the channel, try off Let-It.net, code MINT, M-I-N-T, for your order. I appreciate you. Adios. Specifically when it comes to content creation, and this might apply to you in your regular life, so just take the concepts, eat the meat, spit out the bones. But when you don't execute on the idea, this is what that can happen. The opportunity that you had to make it happen fades. It goes away. Sometimes the doors only open for 5 days at a time. And it only happens once every 2 years. And because you didn't execute on it, you failed. It didn't go as well. And you think it's an algorithm external thing when really it was you. The video was perfect. It's just not perfect now because now people's attention is faced elsewhere. Okay? The opportunity fades. The attention looks elsewhere. You know, trends move. The conversation shifts. And you're not there. Or you weren't there for the conversation. You got the joke late. And everyone's on to the next 3 jokes. Okay? Your motivation fades. The passion you would have put into that video, the passion you would have put into that project, the product on Monday, fades by Friday. And fades more by next Friday. And it's almost completely gone by the 3rd Friday because you didn't execute on it. So by the time you get on it and you finally make the video, you finally upload it, it doesn't do as well because you're working 3 weeks in the past. Well, now we're on a completely different conversation. And especially now, especially now, you're gonna beat yourself up because, oh, I'm just not that good. I'm not doing this well. When in reality, all you had to do was make it and push it out. That's it. That's all you had to do. That's it. Okay? And on top of that, your confidence is gonna take a hit. It is. It's just gonna take a hit because you think you're a failure, which in part you kind of are, but not because you yourself are a failure, but it's because you failed to execute. You failed to execute. You failed to execute. That's why you failed this time. That's why you failed this time. You failed to execute. When you don't do what you say you're going to do, you tell yourself that's the type of person you are. Then you start acting on it more and more on a regular basis to the point it becomes a part of your personality. And sometimes it becomes a part of your character. And it's going to take a lot more work to get rid of it because it's not really a leech or a weed that you want in your life at all. So please execute on the idea that you have. I'm gonna hit the set. 1 second. I can't even pick it up. I can't even pick this crap up. Let's go on to this next exercise.